Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Tuesday Live. I go live in this group every Tuesday at various times. I try to keep it to the noon-ish EST range because that works best for me. So if you are here, please say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. I want to say hello to everybody who is new to this group. So happy that you're here and you're joining us at the right time because March is Nutrition Month here in Canada. So it's considered the month of nutrition. And why don't we focus on nutrition this month here in this group? Because from what I understand and what I see, food and nutrition is such a difficult topic to wrap our heads around because there's so much information out there around food and nutrition, that is sometimes really difficult to unpack. So we are often lost along the journey when it comes to finding out what we can eat, what we cannot eat, what we should eat, what we should not eat. What are the inflammatory foods? What are the good foods? And all of these things. And I am here to give you my input on food and nutrition, which might be a little bit different than what you hear out there from all sorts of influencers and nutritionists and functional doctors that are trying to support their clients with a elimination based diet and elimination based a way of living an autoimmune Hashimoto's life. I have experienced the opposite to be true, and I will go into the nitty gritty of all of this actually during my 3 day challenge, which you'll see the banner in this group has changed to the challenge, which is coming up on March 17th. I just wanted to give you a quick heads up and information around what is happening in this group in the next little while so you can get excited. And before I go into today's topic, which will be about food, and I'll be discussing a little bit about how to choose organic versus conventional versus local versus seasonal foods, how all of these different approaches come together and how you can decipher which approach is best for you. But let me give you a little bit of a heads up what's to come here. So this month we're going to be talking a lot about food. It's a topic that is really of interest to a lot of you in this group. I posted a poll and I could see that a lot of you are actually sort of confused and not really knowing what you can, what you cannot eat with Hashimoto. So we're going to be diving into that a little bit. And then the challenge is coming up March 17th, 18th, and 19th. Everybody who has not been through this challenge, please register for it. You will learn so many things that you can really put into action right away. So the challenge is very hands-on. We are talking about the three main key pillars that are necessary to address when it comes to overcoming fatigue and symptoms with Hashimoto's by really honing in on the root cause triggers to the autoimmune inflammation. And food is going to be something that we discuss on day one, which is all focused on gut health, which nutrition plays a huge part in. Day two will be all about the detoxification systems, which is super critical for us with Hashimoto's because we want to get rid of the inflammation. And there are several pathways that need to be supported in order for us to do that on a daily basis. And we can help our bodies to detox on a daily basis in a gentle way. So we'll be talking about that on day two. And day three will be all about the nervous system regulation. We'll talk about how our adrenals, our whole hormonal imbalances can really fuel the inflammation in our bodies. And that's a topic that is oftentimes overlooked, but we're going to be deep diving into that. And so that you have a really wholesome experience, I'll give you valuable action steps you can implement right away during those 3 days. All you have to do is you have to tune in to the 1 hour long session. So it's going to be a full on masterclass for you. You can catch in the replays, no problem. It's going to be saved here on the feed for a week after. If you want to register, you are getting a workbook, you are getting a meal plan alongside the challenge, you're getting a recipe. You can start to get cooking in the kitchen with all of the yummy foods that we're talking about. So it's a really fun event. It's going to give you so much value and insight and clarity. And most of all, it's going to start to take away the fear a little bit, which is so important for us with Hashimoto's. We can't be in a fearful state of mind trying to heal our bodies. So let's take away that fear and I'll help you to do that. And you will have actionable steps you can take right away. So if you want to register, please comment under this video, challenge please, and I will add you to the list. Janelle in this group, she is the relations coordinator, customer or client or member relations coordinator in this group. Janelle Pavey, she will be reaching out to you as well and inviting you. You can reach out to her if you need the workbook or any other information. So let's take advantage of this challenge for you to get started on your journey. Okay, so that is what's to come. Now we're going to be talking about food in a little bit. We're going to be talking about just a little bit of, coming from a bird's eye perspective, not so much going into the nitty gritty of specific foods, but really just clarifying the myths around organic food versus conventional food versus local foods versus seasonal foods. What are best for us? Should we be really going on a full-on organic diet only? Can we eat some conventional foods? If yes, which ones? There's so many questions around this topic that come up for me, when I have conversations with women, that I thought I'm going to address it here to give you a little bit more insight on it, because that was a huge part for me. That was one of, I will say, the fear triggers for me, because when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's many years ago, so my daughter was my youngest one was just born, and my oldest one was 2, and now they're 14 and 16. And so we were in the midst of building a family and building our careers, and we simply did not have the funds, the financial support to go full organic with everything that we were buying. And I felt horrible because I read that for me with my condition, and I was really in the midst of feeling my absolute worst at that time. I felt bad that I wasn't able to support myself with organic foods, but I did not want to put that financial pressure on my family either. Buying organic foods only. So that was something that stuck with me for a long time, and I couldn't really enjoy the conventional foods that we had to eat, because I was always at the back of my mind, I was thinking, oh my goodness, like now I'm adding so much inflammatory factors to my diet, like so many pesticides and all of these things that I'm adding. And I'm really not helping my body to heal with that food. So I want to clear up some myths here around organic, conventional, and so on and so forth. There is honestly so much information out there. There's so many studies around there that are trying to decipher whether conventional foods are truly less nutrient dense than organic foods. There are some pros and some cons to both of them, and I'll go a little bit into detail when it comes to both of them. So generally speaking, there have been a lot of studies, but there's meta-analysis, which means meta-analysis are those studies that, summarize and look at 30 plus studies that have been done on that topic. And meta-analysis have come out showing the following. When it comes to macronutrients, so vitamins, specifically vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, all of the macronutrients, the the nutrient density is not much different between organic and non-organic foods. Um, so there are slight differences, but they are honestly very small. Like there's a very small difference in percentage when it comes to nutrient density. So, for example, I have some examples here for you. Is that carrots, for example, have a 10% difference in nutrient density. It has been shown that lettuce 4%, spinach 3%, strawberries 2%. So not that much, right? What has been shown is that what actually really plays a role in nutrient density of the food is the way the farmers are taking care of their soils. So there's farming procedures, farming processes such as tilling. So tilling has been around for millennia. And both do it, right? So tilling the soil with organically grown crops as well as conventional grown crops. Tilling has been shown consistently to deplete micronutrient uptake of the crop. So micronutrients, we're talking about um, minerals mostly, right? So minerals and phytonutrients, but mostly minerals. So it depletes the mineral status of the soil, which then translates into the mineral deficiency of the crop, right? And that doesn't matter whether that is organic or whether that is conventional. Rotation of the crop makes a huge difference in terms of nutrient density because the healthier the soil is, the more diverse the soil is when it comes to bacteria, when it comes to minerals, when it comes to all those particles that are helping the plant to thrive. That is what then translates into more nutrient density. So rotation of crops is really important to not deplete the soil and things like that. And that doesn't matter whether that is organic or non-organic. Okay. So to summarize that, the macronutrients amounts is not that different. So generally speaking, yes, organic crops have a little bit more nutrient density than conventionally grown ones because of the way that farmers tend to look after their soils at the same time, but not significantly. Now, what has been shown though is that the level of phytonutrients, so which are basically not considered nutrients in the grand scheme of things in terms of vitamins, macronutrients, vitamins, minerals, fats, proteins, whatever. Phytonutrients are chemical compounds that the plant is creating as it's growing, mostly to defend itself. It's very important for the plant's immune system to have a good amount of phytonutrients, which gives them the color, which gives them the flavor, which gives them the flavor intensity, right? So that is something that you can really, you can actually taste it, right? When you have a tomato that is, let's say you grow tomato in your own pot outside on your front porch or in your backyard, and you look after the soil and it's exposed to sun and all of that, and you pick it and it's fresh, the intensity of the flavor versus a grocery store one that is you know pale reddish versus a dark red, right? Just the color. is incredible. Like, I mean, we all have probably experienced that when we're growing our own stuff, it tastes so much better, so much more intense, the flavor, than when we're getting it at the grocery store. And those are the phytochemicals. And it has been shown that yes, the phytochemicals in a organically grown food are on average 60% higher than in the ones that are grown conventionally. And it makes sense when you think about it, because the the label organic means that there is no pesticides that are being sprayed on the plant, right? So, which means the plant that is grown organically needs to have a strong immune system in place to fend off bugs, to fend off the environmental hazards, to keep alive throughout, I don't know, harsh weather and all of these things, and bugs that are coming their way. So it is creating a lot more of these compounds that are so good for us when it comes to autoimmune. Phytochemicals, phytonutrients are one of the most important things that we need in our diet in order to fend off inflammation. So that is a huge part. That's a big difference, right, between conventional and organically grown foods. However, if there is an organically grown food, right, and the food comes from hundreds and thousands of kilometers or miles away from where you live. Say it's imported from, like, us here in Canada, we have kiwis that are coming from New Zealand, right? Or from Italy. I mean, the amount of time that these fruits are spending in transit, those fruits or these fruits are not being picked at their ripest level, right? They're being picked when they're slightly ripe, and then they're ripen on the journey. So you know that the level of phytochemicals in these fruits are much lower, phytonutrients are much lower than stuff that is grown in your own local community. And that leads me to say that when you are buying from local farmers that are not organic, most of them, if you have conversations with them, most of them actually rarely use pesticides. They only use pesticides when there's a danger of them losing their entire crop because of something that is happening, because of a bug that is just taking over everything. Then they're using pesticides. But mainly, they are growing things organically without the label because the label is expensive. They're looking after the soil. They're doing the crop rotation. They're doing all the things in order to produce good quality crops locally. So not only are you getting the for them to look after the soils, which we just learned is such an important factor in nutrient density when it comes to nutrient density and micro minerals and macro nutrients and micronutrients, but it's also grown very close to you. So it is grown in the soil, in the sun, in the environment that your body is used to, number one, in season, right? And it utilizes the environment to grow, and then they pick it when the fruit or the vegetable is actually ripe. So you get it, and then when you buy it from the farmer, or the farmer brings it, sells it at the store, you buy it, and the transit time is very short. So the breakdown of nutrients that organic food sometimes is experiencing, only because of the length of the journey and the state it was being picked at, versus you going to the local store and buying foods there. You are likely getting a lot more nutrient density when it comes to phytochemicals, when it comes to macro nutrients, micronutrients from your non-organic, locally grown food versus the food that has been shipped from who knows where. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I'm not saying anything is better than the other, right? I'm just pointing out the facts of how to determine what works for you as a family. So I can tell you that when I looked into nutrition in order to support my Hashimoto's, in order to get out of my fatigue, which was mind numbing, completely consuming my life, my joint pain that was absolutely incredible. I wasn't able to walk straight sometimes because my back hurt so much. And the brain fog, which was incredible. I couldn't even focus on conversations to be held. I couldn't finish sentences in a proper way. Um, us as a family, I would say we ate 80% conventional, 20% organic because of our financial situation. And even by doing that, I was able to become better because I made changes to the way I ate. I made changes to the way I balanced my meals, the way I addressed my gut health, my digestion, my absorption, my detoxification pathways, everything that we're going to be talking about, by the way, in the 3-day challenge. All of these puzzle pieces I put together, gut infections and things like that, while eating a 90% whole foods based diet on an 80% conventional foods diet and 20% organic. I put myself into remission by doing that. So I just wanted to let you guys know to not be afraid and to not have fear around food that way. It's not helping. Conventional food is not an enemy. Conventional food is nutritious. Whole foods is nutritious, but it does have some caveats. So I do want to go into these little caveats with the conventional food, to what to look out for, um, to maybe help you make decisions around that a little bit. So we talked about the conventional foods and nutrient density. So the nutrient density is very similar. The phytonutrient spectrum is lower. So just know that. So you might want to add a few more of the really high colorful foods, the antioxidant foods into your diet in order to offset that. Even if you want to buy organic, but you can't really afford it, it's too much money, choose choose those foods and buy just those foods organically that are really high in phytonutrients. So the really rich, colorful berries, right? So if you want to choose those to just go organic with those, that's what we did. Then you're getting the high phytonutrient content and you're avoiding the pesticides. So that is another thing with conventional foods. In all of the studies, by default, of course, it has been shown that the level of pesticides that you're consuming is higher than the ones in organic foods. I hope so, right? Because that's what we're paying the big bucks for when we choose organic. So, in I also really wanted to give you a little bit more information on that. Remember how I said that your local farmers are spraying typically only when their crop is in danger? That pesticide spraying that is being done on the crop is not gonna, it's not gonna kick your body into a Hashimoto's flare, so to speak, because the amount of pesticide residue on those crops is minimal enough for your body to be able to detoxify on a daily basis. If your detoxification pathways are supported optimally, and that's the caveat. And this is what I see often, is that we have this toxic load. So our bodies are equipped with the systems to rid ourselves from toxins, including pesticides, right? So usually when you're eating pesticides in a limited amount on food, it's not going to harm you because your body has cleaning systems in place. However, if we are experiencing a toxic load that is accumulating in our bodies through detoxification pathways that are blocked, so for example, constipation, not being able to sweat, not exercising, not hydrating enough, but also all sorts of internal inflammatory processes, which we'll talk about in the challenge, then every single time that you're eating those foods, conventional foods that might have some pesticides residue on it, can add to that toxic load. And over time, that can then cause you to have a flare up or cause you more inflammation in the body, right? So it's not necessarily that one-time spray from the farmers in the local community is going to harm you, but it can add to your toxic load, which long-term can really affect you. So what I'm trying to say is that food is one thing. So we can look into, assembling a diet that, that is enjoyable for us, that we can support financially, not having to worry about whether it's a conventional or organic, because conventional food is nutritious. Nutritious, almost similarly nutritious on the macronutrient level, not as nutritious on the phytonutrient level, and it does have the pesticides residue. Not all of them. Not all of them. They don't. Not all of them spray, but they do spray, right? But so knowing that, we can absolutely ensure and support our detoxification pathways, which we have to anyways with our autoimmune. We have to bring that up to an optimal level so we can then utilize these foods, right? So that we can actually eat the conventional foods and not having to worry so much about the pesticides that might be lingering on the food even after washing it and things like that. And by the way, washing it with apple cider vinegar thoroughly can really help to break down the pesticides. So there's nice vegetable washes out there in health food stores that you can get and spray your vegetables and fruit with, that can already decrease the amount of pesticides that are sitting on the fruit. So that is just another option on how to decrease that level of pesticides toxicity that might be on that fruit. That's what we did. So that is why I personally, for us as a family, during the season, so obviously we're in Canada, there nothing grows in anywhere between October and May, literally. But in the season, so come May, come June, July, August, September, October, we are fully shopping from local farmers, almost and exclusively, because of the seasonal foods, because of the high nutrient density, And to be quite honest, when I ask the local farmers and when I have a conversation with them and have them show me around the farm, it's really nice to see that the way they're farming with a heart and their soul, they're loving their job that they're doing, and they're selling their products with a lot of integrity. And they're really open and said this season we didn't have to spray at all, which is great. And another season, yes, they had to spray with once, which is fine for me because I don't have detoxification issues anymore. I have gotten my body into a place where I detox on a daily basis thoroughly so that I can eat that and it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect my family because our bodies are designed to be able to purge these things on a daily basis in minimal amounts, right? So we eat local and in season most of the time. During winter time, we cannot. So we opt between specific foods that we only buy organic and other foods that we know come from the US. We do some research on where the sources are coming from. The grocery stores work with come from conventional farmers in the US that we also trust. And then we eat conventional foods as well. And this has kept me in remission for a long time now. And yeah, so this is really something, just something to think about when it comes to food that way. Okay, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments. I would like to know how you are eating, whether you're opting for organic only, if you do eat conventional, if you do eat local and from local farmers, things like that. Let me know. And also, if you want to register for the challenge, please comment challenge, please, in the comments. I'll be happy to register you, send you the workbook, send you the meal plan, the recipes to really dive deep into these three key pillars for you to overcome Hashimoto's in 2025. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you again very soon.